Aloha, and welcome to today's Kupuna. I'm Percy E. Howard, your host. The American Lung Association was founded in 1904 to originally help fight tuberculosis. Today, being the oldest voluntary health organization in the United States, the American Lung Association combats all forms of lung disease, especially asthma and tobacco abuse. On today's Kupuna, we are highlighting the American Lung Association of Hawaii. And joining us this evening is Jean Evans, the Executive Director. Thank you for joining us this evening, Jean.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Now, before we start each show, we begin with a short message for our Kupuna. So go ahead and grab our paper and pencil, as you may want to take down some notes, or at least write down a few phone numbers. We'll be right back after this message for our Kupuna.
Did you know Lanakila Meals on Wheels serves nearly 500,000 meals each year to seniors island-wide through its group dining and home delivery program? And sometimes the volunteer is the only person the senior may see each day. That's why my family and I volunteer here, and we are inviting you to join us. There are many different volunteer opportunities available. You can assist seniors with exercises, recreational and educational activities, or deliver meals right to the senior's doorstep. We volunteer because we know the program could not reach all the communities of Oahu without volunteer support. It is an honor to know that with every volunteer hour, one more meal can be purchased for a senior in need. We're reaching out because the Lanakila Meals on Wheels program needs your help. There is a shortage of volunteers in the group dining and home delivery programs in all areas, especially in Waianae, Wahiawa, and the North Shore areas. You can volunteer for a special event once a week or even once a month. Perhaps your family or company could adopt a route and take turns volunteering. Any amount of time is appreciated, and it's a great way to teach your children how to help others and foster teamwork. With just a little bit of your time, you can make a difference in someone's life. Sign up to become a Lanakila volunteer today by calling 356-8532. That was 356-8532. Or email us at info@lanakilahawaii.org. We look forward to seeing you.
Welcome back. My guest today is Jean Evans, the Executive Director of the American Lung Association of Hawaii. Welcome to the show again, Jean.
Well, thanks a lot.
Now, give us a little background on yourself and how you came over to the American Lung Association of Hawaii.
Okay, yes, I actually have a background in public health. Went to the University of Hawaii, have my master's in public health.
Hey, go Warriors.
Hey, that's right. They're doing a good job. And I worked at Kapilani Medical Center for Women and Children for 12 years, where there were a lot of premature babies who have lung problems. I also actually worked at the American Cancer Society for a little while before that, and at Alulike with maternal and child health, but also worked with some of the Kupuna
Great organization. We've had them on our show as well.
Yes. So I really have a public health background, and lung health is a basic necessity to life, so that's how there was an opening, and I applied, and here I am.
Good for you. American Lung Association of Hawaii. What exactly do you folks do? And I didn't realize, you were telling me earlier, it's the oldest organization in Hawaii.
Yes, it is. It's the oldest voluntary health organization in the state. It was founded in 1929 on Kauai, and it was really there also the Kauai Tuberculosis Association. And we are affiliated with the national organization, the American Lung Association. They don't actually fund us. We actually support their research and some of their advocacy things.
Okay.
But locally, we do a lot of programs, both in schools, for children, asthmatics. We do have a Better Breathers Club for people with chronic lung diseases, and a lot of those are elders.
What are some of the major types of lung diseases? Because I didn't realize, talking to you further before we started, breathing is basically your whole life. You can't breathe, you're not going to live.
That's right. And as we say, if you can't breathe, nothing else matters. And that's really true. There are a lot of lung diseases. We have over 150,000 people in Hawaii that have some type of lung disease. Could be lung cancer, of course. We are familiar with that. Asthma. We have a high rate of asthma in Hawaii. We also have the flu. People don't think of the flu as a lung disease, but is really a respiratory problem, and pneumonia. People die from both the flu and pneumonia every year. That's why we encourage flu shots. Also, people with chronic lung problems like chronic bronchitis or emphysema, and we call that chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, or COPD. And we have a high rate of that in Hawaii, and many of them are kupuna.
Right. Programs in Hawaii, I didn't mention, I know you mentioned the DOE, Department of Education. What are the type of programs you have out there?
Okay, well, for our asthma children, we offer open airways in the school. Then we have another thing that's called Asthma 101. This is for caregivers. It can be for kupuna, it can be for teachers or preschool teachers or parents who work with the kids to help them manage their asthma. And also then for the school students themselves in the elementary schools. Teach them how that they can actually live formal, happy lives, do exercise, just really looking at those triggers and what happens and helping the family understand that too.
Now, what is the major reason for lung problems? Is it smoking?
It is. Most lung diseases are related to cigarette smoking. It can be a personal issue, so if you smoke, obviously your chances of getting some lung diseases are much higher. Lung cancer specifically, or COPD, emphysema, they're directly related. Even more concerning is secondhand smoke, what that does to other people.
I was telling you earlier that I had a distant relative of mine that didn't smoke but died of lung cancer, and it's because he worked in a place where there was they burned Kiawe wood.
Yeah, breathing in particulates during cane burning times, that was a real problem. Also, if we have brush fires, we really help people to think about what can you do, wear a mask, stay indoors, same kind of thing that you try to avoid secondhand smoke, but that's very difficult to do sometimes in houses.
Smoking, I know you're part of the reason why they passed a law in Hawaii.
That's right.
Which is, I think when we look back, it's probably a better thing than a detriment. Obviously, it affects businesses, but that's another issue. But how much do you think it's really helped?
I think it's helped a great deal. You think about it in the bars and restaurants and 20 feet away from an entrance, but one thing you don't think about, when was the last time you were at Ala Moana Shopping Center and walked by Sears? Remember they have the ATM machines there?
Yeah.
Used to be a tunnel of smoke. Now it's illegal to smoke there. And you
It's
can
illegal to smoke there?
Illegal to smoke there because it's an indoor public place. That's really what this smoking law is, preventing smoking in public places. And if people want to smoke, they certainly can, but my right to smoke stops if your smoking affects my health. So
In a public area?
yeah. So we think that people at work have a right to work in a place that's free from smoke, and also if they want to dine or be entertained.
Well, life expectancy already is high in Hawaii. It's going to get even higher. But I can still remember the days I've been walking into office buildings, and I remember one particular office, and I walk in, literally, you open the door, and smoke would come coming out.
That's right.
I go to their desk, and you see literally an ashtray full of cigarette butts. It's hard to imagine, maybe 15 years maybe ago they stopped that? It's amazing.
Yeah, it is. And young people today don't really understand what it was like. But if you think back, it was really terrible. If you were a non-smoker, you came home just reeking with smoke. And the particulates were very, very dangerous to people. The secondhand
even
smoke.
airplanes. You could smoke in an airplane
That's
before.
right. And actually the flight attendants have filed lawsuits against that because they were very helpful in getting the law to ban smoking on airplanes because many of them were quite ill.
Well, I was mentioning to you earlier, California, I believe, banned smoking in rental cars. I just found out recently, and I believe in the Bay Area, they banned you smoking in a rental apartment.
And actually, even in Hawaii, some condos have gone smoke-free.
Wow. Really?
If they voted to do that. And it is something I think that people are becoming more used to because when you're not exposed to smoke, you feel much better. And when all of a sudden you have some smoke coming, you're coughing, especially people who have asthma, people who have chronic lung problems, it's very, very dangerous. And the Surgeon General said there is no safe level of secondhand smoke exposure.
Oh, absolutely.
And that the science is in, and so we're helping people who are if they're ready to stop, we're ready to help them.
And any time is beneficial to you.
That's right. You can stop at any time. It's better than not stopping.
Now, you were telling me a story. Could you tell our viewers
Sure,
about a story that
yeah.
you brought? It's pretty close to home for you.
Yeah. My father-in-law smoked till he was about 40, I guess, and quit. Then he worked in a rubber mill for the rest of his life. He was going to retire at age 65. When he was 64 and a half, he started coughing a little more. Normally he had a little cough anyway, but he coughed up some blood, was diagnosed with lung cancer. And unfortunately, he didn't live to his 65th birthday. He died before he could even retire. But more tragic, I think, was his wife, my mother-in-law, was so addicted to cigarettes that she couldn't stop smoking all the way through his illness. And she continued to smoke after that. They lived on the mainland. She came to visit us maybe 3 years later with, she was just really sick. Ended up at Kuakini Hospital with pneumonia and chronic lung damage, severe lung damage. Wow. And continued to live for a few more years with what was called emphysema at the time. But her last 2 years were dependent on an oxygen tank. Neither one of those people got to enjoy their retirement in their years.
That's really so critical, you know.
Yeah.
Coming up next, we'll talk more about lung disease prevention and how to become a volunteer at the American Lung Association of Hawaii with the Executive Director, Gene Evans. Now let's take another short break for an important message for our kupuna.
Aloha. My name is Sarah Robinson with Funeral Consumers Alliance Hawaii. We've been helping families plan their final arrangements since 1963. We are a nonprofit, educational organization with no products to sell, only information to give away. We hope our planning materials will help you with your efforts to plan ahead. Planning ahead can easily save you thousands of dollars. One of two things happens when you die. If funeral arrangements were made in advance of death, the dignified celebration of your life as you would have wanted will be easier to arrange and pay for by your survivors. Whether services are simple or elaborate, planning ahead is a free gift you can give to your family. If plans weren't made in advance, decisions will have to be made under pressure and at a time of grief. This usually results in unnecessary expenses and a sense of chaos as survivors search for important phone numbers and documents. Disagreements are likely to occur as your family struggles to decide what you would have wanted. Our Statement of Desires planning form is a simple one-page form that lets your family know what you may or may not want for your final arrangements. This form also has a section for recording vital information required by the Department of Health to process a death certificate. We also offer a free mortuary price survey, which makes comparing prices easier. Please call for additional materials at Funeral Consumers Alliance Hawaii. We also have speakers available for informational talks and workshops. Again, we have no products to sell, only information to give away. Please contact us at Funeral Consumers Alliance Hawaii. Our phone number is 638-5580. That's 638-5580. Our message machine is on 24 hours a day. I'm Sarah Robinson for Funeral Consumers Alliance Hawaii. Aloha and plan ahead.
Welcome back. A world free of lung disease is a great vision that every member of our community should have. Lung disease has become the third leading cause of death, and unfortunately, it is continuing to grow. There are important steps we can take to help prevent lung disease. So let's talk more about prevention. What are some of the great tips you could give us?
Okay, well, one of the major ones, again, is the smoking issue. If you smoke, think about it, and we're ready to help you when you want to stop. But again, you have to want to do that yourself.
At any age?
At any age, that's correct. But secondhand smoke is something we all can do something about.
Yeah.
Children who grow up in a home that has smoking in it have high rates of chronic illnesses, respiratory problems. And
if not grow up smoking themselves.
well, that's true. Sure, of course. And we did a little survey in one of our programs. We have a program called Word of Mouth, which is a program to prevent kids from smoking, and it's in the 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. And we asked them, does anybody at home smoke in your house? And 44% of the kids said, yes, someone smokes, which is about 3 times what we would expect and what the adults say, but kids really don't lie. Yeah. So just think about that. Also, people think it might be better to open a window in a car if you're smoking, and that is actually worse. If a child or a Kupuna is in the back seat, the smoke just flows right in, and it sticks to the fabric, and it is much more confined there, so it's very, very dangerous. It's actually even more dangerous than VOG exposure. Now, we can't do anything about Madame Pele, but we can do something about secondhand smoke. So just think about it.
You know, in regards to C, we were talking earlier about, like you said earlier, if you can't breathe, you basically can't live.
That's right.
And it causes a lot of problems down the road, emphysema, pneumonia. Right?
Yes, and that's why we really want people to get flu shots. You don't think about that, but that is a lung problem. We also have a connection on our website to information on the flu and pneumonia.
Is flu shots only once a year, though?
Usually it's around this time of the year is a good time. And I know you mentioned the senior fair. They're all lined up to have flu shot. I got mine, too. And I think it is really important. And anybody, children who have asthma should have flu shots, or adults who have asthma should have flu shots. You want to stay as well as possible. Drink fluids. Just try to stay as well.
Good.
As you can.
I know you guys do a lot of advocacy. Can you just explain?
Well, we have this past year, of course, we were very successful with the coalition, working to get the smoke-free law passed. And every year we're looking at what's coming up. We were also happy last year to pass the cigarette tax increase. So every 2 years, or every year, it goes up 20 cents a pack for 6 years.
For the smokers out there.
And
that's for the next, 3 or 4 years, it's going to go up 20 cents more.
Yes. Right now it's $1.80. Last year it was $1.60, and it just went up. So next year it'll be $2, and it keeps going up. And
I did not know that.
So think about that, because I know one of our staff people has a Kupuna who smokes, and said, you know, you really need to stop smoking. Well, no. And then he figured out how much he spent all his life smoking. Figured it out. And it was thousands and thousands of dollars on cigarettes, and that made the difference right there.
Talk about, I know every year, New Year's is coming up.
That's right.
Problem.
That's right.
Culture.
We have a tobacco, or a state of the air report card that the American Lung Association nationally puts out. And Hawaii, with our trade winds, we get wonderful grades, straight A's and 1 F. And that F happens to be for short-term pollution on one night, and that's really New Year's Eve. And we know that's a real cultural thing. But if you've ever seen anybody, or if anybody in your family has some lung problems, if they have emphysema or COPD or asthma, or just have a hard time breathing, keep them indoors, keep the air conditioner on, give them a lot of fluids, help them breathe, because it's very dangerous.
Yeah, that time of year, obviously, with our culture, we love this. You know, I've been doing it since I was a small kid.
Yeah.
You know, but it's hard to wait, but so I try to keep, my son has asthma, and so we keep him indoors, you know, keep him away from the fireworks, but it's something that, what can you do? You really can't do much.
Yeah, I don't know, it is regulated at the county level.
Right. In terms of smoking-related lung diseases, what other things do we need to be aware about?
Well, all lung diseases can be made worse with smoking, and so if you have a problem already, being around a smoker or smoking yourself certainly is going to hurt that. It also, you know, it's a cardiovascular issue too. It makes your heart not work as well. Stroke more common. So smoking is a really...
It's related to almost everything.
It is, unfortunately, and it's, you know, there's a lot of money in tobacco too, but they have increased the nicotine rate, so people are more addicted now than they were a few years ago.
That's pretty unbelievable. When you mentioned it earlier to me, I couldn't
Sure.
believe that.
Yeah, so it's hard. No one says it's easy to quit. And
But they're making it harder.
yeah, they are. They are, sure.
So these guys really know what they're doing.
That's right. That's right. And oftentimes it takes several times to quit. We offer quit smoke clinics. We offer online information, but it is never too late to stop. And we can do it at offer clinics in work sites or in senior centers.
Do you have a tip for, let's say your grandmother or your mother, and they're smoking? Is there how do you get them to stop? They've been doing it for 30, 40 years.
Well, you know, and maybe they won't, and they have to make that decision themselves. You know, some people, you know, my friend whose father was so upset because it cost so much money in his lifetime, he said, okay, I'm quitting. Or women, younger women, it causes a lot of wrinkles because of, yeah, you know, the skin looks really bad. You can usually tell a smoker.
Really?
And especially the older you get, the worse it looks. So that's one thing. But it really is keeping in mind the other people in your family.
Yeah.
It's for the keiki, it's for the kupuna, it's for anybody who lives in a confined area. We want the best for our children. We want the best for our family members. And that really means don't smoke around them.
Statistics are pretty scary for Hawaii. Can you give us a few?
Yeah, we have the second highest rate of childhood asthma in the nation. Wow. And Native Hawaiian children have twice that rate. And actually, Japanese children, 15 to 17, have 3 times the national rate. We don't really know why, but we have a lot of triggers here in Hawaii, too. It's not only smoking, but cockroaches, mold.
You're mentioning that.
Dust
I didn't realize
mites.
that.
Everybody who has asthma has a different trigger. That's what we call them, something that actually brings on an attack. And oftentimes it is cigarette smoking, but sometimes it's something else too in the environment. Dust mites.
So we recommend getting like a clean air purifier in your house then?
And just finding out what that trigger is and eliminating that.
But in regard to asthma, you can still get asthma later on in your life.
Sure, you can have adult onset asthma, and many people have asthma throughout their lifespan.
What would cause that, though?
We don't really know. It's a disease.
The air
there
in
are
the home, or maybe the mold, like you said,
you know,
mold?
some people have a genetic tendency in the family. Maybe they've had something that's really triggered it. Maybe they've had an illness. A severe respiratory illness.
Good. Jean, thank you very much. You shared some really valuable information. Before we end our show today, let's take one more quick break. We'll be right back after this message for our Kupuna.
Aloha, I'm Dr. Richard Riddell. Good nutrition is important for everyone of any age, not just for the young. A well-balanced diet provides many benefits, while a poorly managed diet can lead to serious problems. An important thing to remember is moderation. Too much or too little of anything can be bad. Good sources of protein include chicken, fish, and lean meats. You don't need to eat a large amount of protein. In fact, the typical American diet has far too much. A good-sized portion should be no larger than your fist or a deck of cards. Carbohydrates or starches are important sources of energy, but we often eat too many of these. Carbohydrates are found in foods such as rice, noodles, bread, and potatoes. Brown bread and brown rice also provide more fiber. Using an ice cream scooper instead of a rice paddle will allow you to better measure the amount of rice you eat. Fiber is important for keeping you regular and for prevention of problems such as constipation, hemorrhoids, and diverticulosis. Good sources of fiber include green leafy vegetables like lettuce, cabbage, broccoli, watercress, and most fruits. Fat can make food taste better, but high amounts of fats, including saturated fats found in red meats like pork and beef, and trans fats found in baked products like pastries and cookies, can contribute to hardening and narrowing of the arteries and can lead to complications such as heart attacks and strokes. Also, be sure to drink adequate amounts of water and avoid excess alcohol and excess salt. A good diet program combined with regular exercise and physical activity can prevent obesity and can also prevent many health complications. A word of advice: some conditions such as kidney and heart failure require that you modify these recommendations. Of course, before starting any diet program, be sure to talk with your doctor. If you have any questions, please call us at 223-8383. That's 223-8383. So get out, get active, and have fun. Remember, fun and fitness really do go together. Mahalo.
I'd like to thank Jean Evans, the Executive Director of the American Lung Association of Hawaii. Thanks again, Jean. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Now, the American Lung Association's mission is to prevent lung disease, promote lung health through research and education. If you have any questions or would like to volunteer for the American Lung Association of Hawaii, please contact Jean. And Jean, your phone number is?
537-5966.
And once again?
537-5966.
And you do have a website, which is very informational,
we do.
right?
www.ala-hawaii.org.
Great. Thank you very much. Stay tuned each week as today's Kupuna will bring to you valuable information, programs, and services in Hawaii to help our seniors live a better quality of life. So please tell your family and friends about today's Kupuna. Thank you for joining us this evening. I am Percy E. Howard, your host. We're here each Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. on Oleto's Channel 52. Aloha and live well.